We're the Plotaholics, a breakfast club of two. We're the Plotaholics, ripping plots apart for you. Hey everybody, welcome to what has become a weekly phenomenon, the kids are saying.
So that's what the kids are calling it now.
That's what the kids are saying. I saw it on TikTok, so
it must TikTok be on the spot, something la da da. I think that's the new song the kids are singing now.
Yes. So welcome to the Plotaholics live. We're doing it live, Brian. Mr. Grumpy Tan over there.
Yeah,
it's not having a great day, but we're gonna get him through it regardless. Thank you for tuning in. If you did tune in, if you didn't tune in, then you can't hear me, but I'm gonna tell you to go screw yourself anyways. Make sure you tell somebody that didn't tune in to screw themselves.
Absolutely, but do it
and also pass it on and blah 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 blah.
It's like, been share, subscribe.
I will tell you this, whenever we started, Brian, I said, I think we should do this for the duration of the quarantine. I did not anticipate that it would be forever.
Yeah. We stopped doing the live shows every week because it started to become a drain. And it's like, now we're just doing it constantly because the quarantine.
Yeah, well, but it's not a drain because I'm not doing anything else, really. Not this week anyway.
It's Shane's on spring break.
Yeah, it's spring break this week. So instead of going into work, I'm like I have been for the last 4 weeks, where I walk across the house and go to my office and then stare at the computer and pretend to help children learn how to write better. This week, I'm waking up and walking across the house and not doing that. Joe is asking if you're wearing your PJs.
Nope, I'm wearing a flannel shirt, not my PJs. Because this is a flannel shirt that I'm actually able to wear at this point because I guess I'm losing weight, although it doesn't feel like it at this point.
Hey, man, congratulations. Stay after it. Stay on your hustle.
I'm working on it. I joined the 100,000 point club on DDP yoga.
Yeah, so you're doing good work over there with that thing for sure.
I'm trying,
Brian, I don't know where you want to start this week. I know where I want to start.
All right, well, I know kind of where I'd like to start. So I watched the lost episode. Well, not the lost episode, the follow-up episode of
Joe
Tiger
Compton.
King.
Joe, be careful
Compton.
here. We'll make it quick. Trash? We'll make it quick. That's right. Yeah, Netflix released a brand new episode of Tiger King in what can only be described in a desperate attempt to maintain momentum.
That was... I mean, yeah, we got to have Jeff from the Community interview some people.
Jeff Wingo? Wingo?
Jeff from Community. It's Weaver. I thought it was Weaver.
It's Winger. Jeff Winger.
Jeff Winger. Why did I want to say Weaver?
I don't know.
I should have known Winger because it's John Winger from Stripes. John and Jeff Winger. I was making that comparison.
Yeah. But so he interviewed some of the folks via what I assume is Zoom.
And it was nowhere near as fun as I was expecting it to be.
I mean, he was appropriately sarcastic and snarky, and I always like
he was Jeff.
Yeah, I always like Joel McHale in those situations. He was, a lot of people have not enjoyed his hosting on there. I don't know what. Honestly, the world didn't need Tiger King, but the world definitely didn't need Tiger King episode 8.
No, it really didn't. Like literally, all this was people that used to work for Joe, or in Jeff. But in Jeff's case, with the hot wife and the hot nanny guy that was partnered with Joe, and all they did was talk shit on Joe.
Yeah,
that's literally all it was them talking shit on
and
Joe.
Everyone making sure that we knew that they didn't do meth.
Yeah, like if you've really got to work that hard to tell me that you're not on meth, then you're on meth.
Yeah.
All right. That's like someone coming to me, I'm a man. I'm a grown man. Yeah. If you have to tell me in an aggressive tone, then you're obviously a child.
Yeah. So, but
Joe Joe Exotic's ex-husband has a nice new set of chompers.
That's
So I'm
true.
glad to see that the Netflix money just rolled in.
Yeah, that's true. So so Tiger King, you can put a bow on that. I can't imagine that they might try to go back to the well again.
They're not no, because Carol Baskins is like the Carol Baskins and the dude who calls himself God or something in South Carolina. They're the only real compelling characters left. Carol Baskin ain't gonna get involved, and Home Slice
I
ain't
don't
gonna
think
get
that he
involved.
will either. Yeah, and Joe Exotic is in prison, so I can't imagine that that they go back to this well again, which is probably why they went this route, because this was not very good, but they tried to strike while it was hot. So
Yeah, and I mean, I give them credit for trying. Like, the only way that we go back to the well for any sort of this craziness is if somehow Joe Exotic, because apparently Joe still has a lot of appeals he's filing to try to get out. So the only way I see us coming back to the Tiger King world is if Joe Exotic like gets out of prison.
Part of what I didn't like about this special was that it kind of recast the entire series, and it made it to me, Tiger King, as a result of this 8th episode, is no longer a docuseries, and now it's a reality show.
It is. And apparently when I woke up this morning, there was a guy who was a documentarian that I think he came about before Robert Kirkman or whatever, the guy in Norway.
Kirkham?
Yeah, Kirkham. And he was a guy from Pittsburgh, and he lived out there with Joe Exotic and stuff. He was Kirkham before Kirkham was there.
Right.
And apparently he was saying Joe Exotic is like they're saying he's a horrible human being.
Yeah.
Like, he's a terrible person. He was surprised that he didn't get like locked up sooner.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, then why the hell, like, why wasn't anything else done? Why wasn't anyone alerting more authorities?
Yeah, because apparently no one likes the guy out there anyway. So you think that it would be a lot easier to put him down and to put him down. It would be a lot easier to like put him out of business.
Yeah, everyone hates him, yet he was the most untouchable guy in Oklahoma. I don't get it.
Yeah, well, when all of it happens on your private property, I guess it does become a little bit more difficult. And the thing that struck me from watching Tiger King is just how shitty our laws are at protecting animals.
Yeah, it really is. And I really, really wish that there would be something more that would have come out of this other than it being a cultural phenomenon, because we're all in pandemic status.
Yeah, and it does make you wonder what would have happened with this if we hadn't been all cooped up inside.
Oh, no one would have watched.
I feel like people still would have watched, because it's a compelling premise, but I don't know that it would have held our attention the way that it has.
No, I mean, we've had so much time to think about it, and like it's just been unreal. But
and I think it's time for the Plotaholics to put it out to pasture.
Yeah, I think that after this, we should be completely done with Tiger
Unless
King.
Something crazy happens, but
yeah, that's true. Well, the one bit that I did kind of like hearing about was when he talked to the campaign manager kid about when Travis killed himself. That was I felt for him. He's like the only person that I really like felt for.
Yeah, he's a smart guy and a good dude, and like he's trying to be something bigger than he is. You know what I mean? Like he wants to go into campaign management and things like that. And he jumped at the opportunity to be the campaign manager for Joe Exotic, but it makes you wonder if that's kind of a resume killer. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like, Joe Exotic. Yeah, just get out of our office.
Yeah, we're done here.
Yeah, we're done here. And I think, you know what? I think with that being said, I think we're done here. I've had enough of these people. I really have. They finally jumped the shark with me.
For sure. Well, and with that being said, Brian, we turn our attention to a feel-good story this week. This week, SNL returned with a remote episode hosted by the now recovered from COVID-19 Tom Hanks.
Thank God, because I was not ready to live in a world without Tom Hanks.
Yeah, and this was such a cool experience. Have you watched this?
No, I haven't. I was actually planning on pulling this up on the Hulu today.
It is incredibly worth it. Like, just to see the ingenuity behind putting an episode out where you had to film it at home and you couldn't have people in the same room together. It's really interesting. So like the real highlight of, so essentially what happens is everybody films their own standalone segments at home and then like sends them in to be edited. And then they put the show together that way. But the real standout here is a Zoom sketch about like a Zoom meeting. And so it all happens on Zoom. And Eddie Bryant and Kate McKinnon play the older secretaries in the office that don't understand technology.
Oh, man.
And it is most excellent.
I am going to have to watch that when the show's over.
It's very good. Yeah. And Tom Hanks does have a killer kitchen for sure.
Dude, Tom Hanks, I just imagine Tom Hanks's house is just set up for optimal awesomeness.
Yeah, it did seem that way for sure. But it's really cool. It was cool to see like how they had even like each individual member of the band play the intro in their own houses, you know.
It was cool.
It was kudos to the artistic director for that episode, just to like conceptualize what an SNL episode filmed entirely online would look like, you know?
Yeah, I heard a lot of good things. You know, we were talking about this during our work meeting yesterday, and you know, it did sort of strike a chord because I haven't really watched SNL religiously since the 90s.
Yeah, this episode is worth a look. You know, I mean, it's also a really specific kind of challenge because for the most part, other than like the Weekend Update and the Zoom sketch, most of the sketches are just individuals sort of doing standalone pieces. Like Kate McKinnon did an at-home workout as Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Oh man, that was awesome.
Pretty funny. But you know, they can't even really go out and buy props and stuff, so they're all sort of like limited to what they have at their house.
That is cool. I love Kate McKinnon. You know, I know for a fact. I mean, what's funny is that the first time I ever saw Kate McKinnon was in the female Ghostbusters, the female-led Ghostbusters film. And yeah. I was like, oh my goodness, she's so hot. Like I would never be able to date her. Then it came out that she was a lesbian. So it was like my 0.002% chance has been dashed to negative 10.5%.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Kate McKinnon is a national treasure.
Whoa, what the hell?
I don't know. You're frozen a little bit over there. You okay?
Yeah, I'm good. I was watching Community before we went on, and I guess it decided that it was going to go back to that horrible luchador child movie that I'm not going to watch. That's what froze.
Oh, I got you. Well, I mean, you're we've got some pretty bad latency on your end, it looks like, too.
Oh, I'm still latent? Damn it.
You're a little latent.
Effing Netflix, man.
Yeah.
Effing Netflix. Well, no, I've closed Netflix. I'm closing out everything else. Here. Yep, I'm closing out everything else that was there. Like, wow.
All right. Well, we'll be right back in a moment. Hopefully a less latent Brian Tan.
Wow.
Well, Brian left. Joe says we're both good now. We're real good now. While Brian is away, I'm going to pivot and talk a little bit about the thing that I'm most excited about. And well, Joe, if I was freezing on your end, how am I looking now? Here's Grumpy Tan is back in the house now.
Is that better now?
Yeah, I think we're looking good. Joe said it was actually me, so
I thought it was me. Stupid Netflix.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I might actually be having some latency issues here on my end, but regardless, we will push forward with our next story, and that, sir, is the MCU announcing their new schedule for the foreseeable future, sort of a shifting everything forward. It looks like mostly everything's just shifting forward a release date. You know how they identify release dates for their next slate of films, and then they just kind of
Right.
attach films to them after the fact. So it looks like everything's just kind of sliding forward a couple of spots.
Yeah, it looks like, because I mean, Black Widow was supposed to be coming out next month, and the Eternals was supposed to be out in the hell is it called, November. Obviously, that's been shifted. So now we're getting Black Widow in November, and the Eternals going to February. And it kind of sucks because I was really hoping to see some of these films a lot sooner. Because I mean, like Shang-Chi was actually supposed to be in the Eternals slot, I thought. So
Yeah,
Shang-Chi got
out because some like there's also a little bit of shifting around here because of the Sony Marvel deal that's happened. Now we have to account for the Spider-Man sort of extended universe Sony stuff like Morbius and everything.
right.
So yeah, I think you're right on that front.
Oh wow! So we're actually getting a new Spider-Man next summer.
Yeah,
That's a
that's
little
what it looks
sooner
like.
than I anticipated.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Yeah. So, and then of course, well, it doesn't look like Black Panther changed much though. Because Black
No,
Panther was always going to be 2022.
I think what happens after you get through next year, everything kind of like levels out again.
All right, that works. And I guess Marvel just they didn't want to have to go the route of putting Black Widow in on streaming. They're still really hoping
Well,
to.
I think if Black Widow goes to streaming, then it doesn't make any money at all.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. I mean, I think people would rent it definitely, but I think that the only way that it does anything respectable is if they put it in theaters.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll tell you the truth. What's crazy is that AMC filed for bankruptcy.
Right.
So that's one less movie theater outlet. And I mean, that could be good for maybe some new indie theaters can come in and take those spots. Cinemark is still going to be there so far for now, it looks like.
Yeah, well, and AMC will still be around too. Like they just have to like sort of figure out
Reshuffle.
how they're going to do that. But and I when this whole thing started going on, the longer that it goes, the more you assume you're going to start to see that out of different theater chains. I think that is probably even a preemptive move out of AMC. Like I don't think that they're in that much trouble right now. I think it's just preemptive.
Yeah, and Joe Compton said it best, and I mean Joe would know. They did it just to make sure they'd make it. But I think that I do believe that I heard that Tom Holland they were working on some early filming for the third Spider-Man movie, or at least they were starting to go into pre-production.
Right.
There was a lot of these movies that started pre-production. Well, I mean, obviously Black Widow's done. That's been finished. Eternals is essentially done. They're just doing post. And Morbius is essentially done. They're just in post. I think it's just Shang-Chi. I think the only of these films that probably haven't started yet is our 2022 films. Because most all this stuff that was supposed to be this year or into next year are, if they're not already done and going into post, they're in at least midway through.
Yeah. Also, no real word, or at least I haven't seen anything about what's going to happen with the Disney Plus extended universe shows, like WandaVision and She-Hulk and all of those. I'm sure that they're also being pushed off, but I'm not sure how far off.
I don't think they're going to be that far. I think at this point, like WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier, those weren't going to be coming out until the fall anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure that we're probably going to still be getting those around the fall. Even if they're not right in September, it'll probably end up being like mid-October at this point.
Yeah.
So I think that our Disney Plus Marvel verse is going to be there. Although one thing, and this totally slipped my mind until we started actually talking about the MCU, is that this year, Shane, I believe it's after October. It's either October or November, one of the two. But now Disney will be able to start introducing Daredevil into the MCU now.
Yeah, a lot of speculation over who is like because like who's going to play. I think Peter Parker's lawyer.
Yeah, well,
is it
because
going to be Daredevil or is it going to be She-Hulk?
Right. Well, I do believe that at one point when Peter Parker was on trial, Matt Murdock was his lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
And so I do believe that that would be cool.
Yeah, Joe asks about the Mandalorian, and as far as I know, Mandalorian season 2 has wrapped.
Yeah, as far as I know as well, because I believe
they started that like whenever the Mandalorian season 1 essentially came out, they were already on season 2.
Season 2, yeah.
I think it wrapped like a month, maybe 2 months ago. I remember seeing that article.
Yeah, and the only reason, and they had just now decided to let us know that Rosario Dawson was Ahsoka.
Yeah.
So they were doing all this under wraps.
For sure.
So I believe Mandalorian season 2 is already done. I'll look into that a little bit more. But I think a lot of this stuff, there's a lot of the stuff that was supposed to be coming out for 2020. A lot of this stuff is either already finished or it's all in post. Like I'm sitting here anxiously awaiting I'm not Karate Kid, Cobra Kai season 3. It's done. It's just they're finishing up stuff. That's why they're not.
Yeah, and anything that goes straight to streaming, like Netflix originals and stuff, like none of that's going to get held up if it's done.
Right. So
anything that's in the can for Hulu or Netflix or Amazon Prime, we're going to get that stuff. So we should get The Boys season 2 on schedule.
Agreed.
We should get Mandalorian season 2 on schedule. So yeah, so that stuff should all be on its way.
Yeah, the only thing that they're not going to be able to do is those red carpet affairs.
Yeah.
And not like we pay attention to that shit anyway.
Right. Yeah. I this week, Brian, I had to pull this story because we've been spending so much time talking about Adam Sandler because we did Happy Gilmore over on the podcast.
Yes, we did.
The last little bit, Ariana Grande has been using, I guess, TikTok to recreate scenes from the Waterboy. Her and her mom and her friends have been doing recreations, and I wanted to watch a couple of them because they are, I think, charming and hilarious.
All right. Does she tackle anybody?
So and this you see Adam Sandler actually retweeted this one.
I love it. Bobby Boucher approves this message. That is awesome.
To the Waterboy.
You played amazing at the game today, Bobby.
And you are so cute. Is there a girl you're seeing?
Seeing? I see a lot of girls. I see a lot of guys too.
I think that's sexy. You ever been with a guy and a girl at the same time?
Oh yeah, plenty of times. The other night I was with my mama and Coach Klein at the same time.
You are a bad boy. I wish you were my boyfriend.
Oh, thank you. But you see, there's this girl, Vicky Valancourt. She may be the devil. Mama said that. Consequently, I'm prohibited from contact with her. But I hope to get past that one day because she's nice to talk to.
Leon!
So,
You played amazing at the game today, Bobby.
That was awesome.
There's another one here. This is a great scene. We'll take a real quick look.
Captain Insano? Oh.
Here you go, Vicky Valancourt. Vicky is an astrologist.
I don't believe in that sort of thing personally. Astronomy is one of the many tools of the devil.
You played great yesterday, Mommy.
What did my boy play great?
Waterboy. Yeah, Waterboy. He played Waterboy great. Everybody who was thirsty got a drink right away.
I just think that it's incredibly charming for whatever reason, you know?
I am slowly becoming an Ariana Grande fan.
I think it's really funny.
I would definitely order a coffee as Ariana Grande.
There you go. And the final sort of big story that we have this week is that Netflix finally, Brian, gave us our first look at Space Force.
Ooh, can't wait.
I am unbelievably excited. This is just about 6 weeks away. It launches on May 29th on Netflix, starring Steve Carell.
Space Force.
A lot of other really great names in this. And I just think that this is going to be, if this is anything like The Office in space, I'm here for it. And
Yeah. Oh shit, John Malkovich.
that's right. Yeah. And we know that it's a joint venture from Steve Carell and Greg Daniels, the creator of The American Office. So it should be in good hands. I'm very excited to see what
That
they're
is
able
pretty
to do with
awesome.
Space Force.
That is pretty cool. And especially after doing what was it, Crazy Stupid Love? I want some more of Steve Carell in my life.
Absolutely. There's plenty of Steve Carell out there. Have you ever seen The Way, Way Back?
No, I haven't.
That's an excellent indie Steve Carell film.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
Also,
I just wanted
Sneaking a Friend for the End of the World is another really great Steve Carell film.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Cool. I have to check that. I just still remember David Lindhagen. Funk. That was gangster.
All right. Well, this last week we promised that we would do a deep dive into the forthcoming Matt Reeves The Batman film. So we present to you our very first,
The Plotaholics Deep Dive. We're gonna need a bigger boat.
I was actually a big fan of it. Yeah. So the Matt Reeves The Batman. Brian, your initial thoughts on The Batman?
I'm excited. I'm extremely excited. Dude, we're gonna get Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman.
Yeah. Well, let's take a gander at our casting, and this is not an exhaustive list by any means, but it is sort of the top build according to IMDb.
Yep. So we're gonna have Robert Pattinson as Bruce Wayne, the Batman. Colin Farrell as Oswald Oz Cobblepot, also known as the Penguin.
That's right.
Colin Farrell as your villain, I'm all there for, because Colin Farrell makes a way better villain than he does a movie hero. I mean, let's just be real.
Yeah, for sure.
I thought he was great in the remake of Fright Night as Jerry Dandridge, and when he was Bullseye, absolutely amazing. Andy Serkis as Alfred, which on one hand I'm like, huh? And on the other hand, it's like, dude, it's Andy Serkis. Chill out.
I just feel like the more I look at this cast, the more I think, of course they got that person to play this character. You know, like there's so many sort of like almost inspired choices, I think, you know.
They really are. I mean, Michael Caine was an amazing choice to play Alfred, and I was like, there's no way they're going to get someone as great as Michael Caine to be Alfred. And then boom, we got Jeremy Irons. And I'm like, there's no way we're going to get a better Alfred. Now I'm excited to see what Andy Serkis is going to do. And Andy Serkis's body of work speaks for itself. I don't care if it's mocap or not, or live action. Andy Serkis has been on top for 20 years now, and there's a reason why.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm actually really upset that the MCU didn't use him well enough as Ulysses Claw, because Ulysses Claw is a very important villain in Marvel Comics. But I digress. Zoe Kravitz has already started to state as Selena Kyle. I love this casting. I love Zoe Kravitz and everything that I see her in.
Zoe Kravitz really also having kind of a moment, I think.
She really is. I mean, she was the standout, at least for me, in the second Fantastic Beasts movie. I think that she was one of the most unsung of that film. Like, she was the only one I really paid attention to. You know, everyone else seemed to be phoning it in, but Zoe Kravitz really put it out there.
She just has so much raw charisma. It's ridiculous. Like her,
just like her parents. Just like her parents.
Well, and High Fidelity on Hulu has been, and I haven't finished it, but she's so good in that.
Oh my God, yes.
That premise of rebooting that film as a series, as a female-led series, is not something that I think anyone else could really pull off that easily. But she does a really, really nice job there.
And you know what, Alyssa Kempetsky, friend of the show, I really wish that she could have been in it a little bit more, because I loved her interactions with Zoe Kravitz.
Yeah,
because it was that. Did you get to watch that episode?
I don't think I've seen that yet.
It is great. It's like,
I'm excited.
So can I buy the record now? I'm like, that is so awesome. But, and I mean, so moving on to our list, and another casting that I really like, Jeffrey Wright as Jim Gordon.
I love this casting.
I do as well. Now, Jeffrey Wright, he was actually a lead in one of the films that I wrote an article about on Plotaholics.com. Shane, can you guess which one?
Oh God, you always like to quiz me on.
I do like to quiz you. I like to call you out a little bit sometimes.
Okay, Jeffrey Wright was the lead in, was it The Howling 2?
No, that was Vincent Price. But I see how you can get them confused.
Yes.
No, he was the male villain in the Samuel L. Jackson Shaft film from 2000. He played Peoples. So,
well, to my credit, you didn't write an article about the 2000 Shaft film. You wrote an article about the 2019 Shaft film.
Yeah, but it was sort of an all-encompassing Shaft.
I mean,
it was a big Shaft. Okay,
it was.
But I'm very excited to see Jeffrey Wright as Jim Gordon, and what else are we? I mean, we have this is a cast that, and of course we got John Turturro. I mean, come on, John Turturro. I'm gonna have a hard time not laughing at him.
Yeah, well, the Peter Sarsgaard character, Gil Colson, is interesting to me because he's a district attorney, much like Harvey Dent.
Right.
There's not a comics counterpoint for this character. Like, this is an original character.
An original character, which is really great.
Yeah, and so I'm interested if this is going to be this universe's Harvey Dent, or if this character is going to bring us to Harvey Dent somehow.
Well, see, I kind of hope not, because I really want to. I don't want to be worried about Two-Face. I want them to focus me with Penguin and focus me with the Riddler. That's what I'd like for them to really. That's where I want my focus to be. I don't want to be like, "Ooh, I'm gonna get Two-Face." Yeah, I don't want to think about that. Like, I love Two-Face as a character. Don't get me wrong. Well, I don't want to be thinking about Two-Face, because then that's going to take me back to the Dark Knight.
On the screen right now, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, arguably 4 villains in the film already.
Yeah. You have. Well, Well, see, I don't see Catwoman as a villain. She's an anti-hero. She's
okay.
Not a villain.
Well, that's fine. I mean, she breaks the law and she fights Batman. That feels like a villain, but I'll allow it.
She's pregnant by Batman in the comics. That's his love. That's the love of his life, man.
Right. Okay. I'll allow.
But I do understand your point. I'm just being a geek about it.
But it's still, even then, 3 other villains, and there's a lot of speculation that the film is drawing from a specific story from the comics that includes like 6 or 7 villains.
Yeah, Batman Year One was a pretty important book, because when Batman Year One came out, and I'm sure if I'm wrong, people are going to let me know about it.
Yeah.
When Batman Year One came out, a lot of people were wanting to know about Batman before he became the seasoned crime fighter.
Right.
And what we're getting in this premise is that Batman isn't the seasoned crime fighter that we know him as, but he's not a rookie either. He's like in his late 20s, early 30s. Yeah. So he's still relatively young. It's just that he's been doing this for a little bit. He's getting his feet about him. Right. So, but this is also going to be it's going to focus more on his detective skills, which a lot of times doesn't really get focused on. I mean, even in the Tim Burton movies did an amazing job of having him as a scientist,
right?
But not so much as a detective. Same with the Chris Nolan films. He was more of a science-y guy and a businessman.
I think the Dark Knight. I think The Dark Knight is probably the closest to the detective film.
Yeah.
The other 2 are sort of stray a little bit further from that, but that film gets pretty close.
Yeah. But I really like the fact that this is probably going to be more of a detective story, which I think is really, really good, and I'm very excited about.
Yeah, so we've got a couple of first looks already from filming. Of course, filming has been stopped. They someone on the crew there did die from COVID-19.
Wow.
Yeah, and so they've clearly everyone essentially has stopped production at this point. But before that, we were able to get a couple of first looks. First, we got some test footage of Robbie P in the suit.
Mm-hmm.
So we got a couple of looks.
I love this. I love
the suit, and I love it too. Like I do like what we are seeing of the suit.
I love the fact that we can barely see his face.
Yeah,
I really, because you don't see Batman's face hardly. A lot of people are like, how do they don't recognize him in Batman? Because yeah, you can see another guy. No, you're not supposed to know. You can barely tell, and I think that's awesome.
Yeah, in fact, the image on the screen right now is I brightened this image.
Right. It's a lot of people were complaining when this first came out. Oh, this is so dark. The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
Batman
Now a lot has been made
darkness.
about the bat symbol in the suit as well, and how mechanical it looks.
Oh my God. I swear, if people didn't have anything to bitch about,
no. I'm not saying that they're complaining.
Okay, good. I'm ready. I'm so ready to fight to defend this. I really am.
In fact, the theory is that the bat symbol here is made out of the gun that killed his parents.
Now that would be cool. I think that would be awesome. I mean, I'm looking at it right now. I'm wondering if the bat symbol isn't two like knives, two stabbing weapons.
Yeah, it could be.
But I think that if he did, take that gun and make it a part of his suit, I think that would be amazing. That would be an extra sort of an extra something to this mythos.
Yeah, and then we got a shot not of Robbie P in the suit, but of his stunt double when these images leaked from the cemetery motorcycle chase, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So you get a better look at the suit here, but that is not Robbie P.
No, it's not. But I do like the look of the suit. It looks very, very practical. It's armored, but it definitely, like, you can tell how it's really based in reality. A lot of the things that
and it looks kind of piecemeal, like he has to kind of build it out of what he can find.
Right. And it looks, I really like the fact also how it's not so much his eyes are free, they're like goggles.
Yeah.
Which I think is good because you want to be able to protect your eyes.
Yeah.
So I think that's awesome. And also, if you notice as well, if you look at it, the way it's protecting his face, no one's really going to notice scarring around the jawline. Like, you can grow out a beard.
Yeah.
Or whatever. But, if it starts getting around the eyes or whatever, it gives away a lot. So I really think that this is a very, very good and practical idea. Plus, you can even see around the forehead there, it could be protecting his head from some serious head injury as well. So I like this suit. I really do. I even like the fact that if you look here around the neck, and I'm pointing at it like I'm John frickin' Madden, but you see around the neck, he's got the collar. Boom! There's a collar. It's protecting the sensitive spots in the back of the neck.
Yeah.
But he's still going to have free reign to move.
On the cowl that are thick, right? I mean, look at the crown of the head.
Yeah. I like that. He's, it's almost like he's getting max protection, but he can still move and be fluid. And I really like that.
Yeah. At the same time that we saw these images, we were also granted a view of the bat cycle.
See, I think that's kind of cool. I mean, I'm not really, here's the thing. I'm very heavy bike driven. Like I like the Harley Davidson Road King.
Mm-hmm.
I like those types of motorcycles. So I'm really glad that this isn't like a wicked, crazy speed bike. This is a practical motorcycle, and I'm sure it's souped up with a lot of torque so it can be faster, but it's got the weight to help, so he's not flying all over.
Yeah, and again, it doesn't look like it's, it is probably souped up, but it doesn't look like it's beyond the means of a vigilante first starting out on his own,
What I really like is that unlike the Christopher Nolan Batman, like that motorcycle is so like, what the hell? You're never going to see anything like this. With this motorcycle, it's like, it's still like it looks like a regular motorcycle.
Yeah.
Which I think is good for anonymity.
Yeah, indeed. And then very, very much has been made of the car. We talked a little bit. This is really what happened last week. This is what made us want to talk about this to begin with. Our first look at the Batmobile.
I want to get Sharon pregnant just so that can drive out of her.
Whoa. I don't know how that would work.
I will find a way to make it happen.
You're going to put a baby car inside of your wife.
Yes. And then when it comes time for her to deliver, it's going to come out as a real car.
Like how large of a car?
Well, I mean, I don't want a Prius, Shane.
I think that what you're saying is that you want to kill your wife with a baby Batmobile.
Well, no.
From the inside.
Well, see, no, that's not
I
how...
need you to hear what you're saying.
All right. It sounded a lot better in my head.
There we go.
All right. So I think the quarantine is starting to get to me a little. But this car is amazing. And I don't care what anyone says. Like, I saw some people were sitting there trying to say, Batman, Fast and the Furious. You know what? I've got a middle finger for you.
I mean, honestly, like it is the kind of car you would drive if you were just getting started. Like nobody's. I mean, look at the evolution of the Iron Man suit.
Right. I mean, the Iron Man suit started as this big clunky thing.
Yeah. So I think that if this is a year one sort of Batman that we're getting, and this is the first time that a year one Batman's been put on film, like this makes sense to me.
Well, second time, because the Dark Knight was the first. But I'm telling you, I like this because it is sleek, it is realistic. All the Batman vehicles that we have had have not been realistic, and I like this because it's a realistic vehicle.
Yeah, as much shit as the Tumbler gets, I mean, the Batmobile in the Tim Burton Batman movies was ridiculous.
It really was ridiculous. But it fit
it was
for the
like
world Tim Burton made.
It's like somebody took Donald Duck's head and turned it into a car.
It looked like Darkwing Duck's car.
It really did. Yeah, I think that's probably what gave them the idea for Darkwing Duck.
Yeah, I think so. And then when you look at the Joel Schumacher Batman movies, like it just got worse.
It was like the Tim Burton Donald Duck mobile on acid.
Yeah.
Because the lights were coming out of everywhere. I wish I had pictures of all of the different Batmobiles.
I'm serious. And then we got the Tumbler. And I'm sorry. I didn't like it. I didn't like the Tumbler at all. It really annoyed. The Batmobile was my least favorite thing in the Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy.
I'm trying to
You're trying to find the
I'm trying to find just the evolution of it, if I can.
I'm sorry. I wish I would have brought that up earlier on. I'm a terrible co-host.
No, it's okay. I think this is pretty good.
All right. But no, I love the new. If that is actually how it's going to look, and we're going to get like a muscle car, like an American muscle car, I am all for that as Batman. Yeah, so you look at your top, you look at your top left, you got Darkwing Duck, and then you get Darkwing Duck partying too hard during the frickin' 60s.
This one right here, and the one from Batman and Robin is bananas.
Bananas. It's horrible.
Yeah.
It's horrible. George Clooney should still continue to apologize.
God, I don't even know what's going on there.
I don't like.
And then here's your favorite, the Tumbler.
Oh, I hate that thing. I hate the Tumbler so much. Now,
I guess this is Batflex, right?
Now, Batflex, it's almost like they went for a sleek version of the Tumbler.
Right.
And I mean, it was okay, but it wasn't all that important. But this one, this new Batmobile is just outstanding.
What is going on? I know this is like a turbine on the front of this, but
well, he has to drive it into the water so the people can have electricity.
Do you remember in Batman Returns when the sides fell off of it and it drove down that alley?
Yeah, it just fell apart like a Lego and was just going down that narrow ass alley. I'm like, huh?
Oh,
okay.
Man.
I don't get what was going on with that. And it's just like, hey, I'm Val Kilmer.
Yeah, man. That
thing looks like those old cars where when you were like revving them up on the ground. The sparks would go flying everywhere. That's what that one Batmobile looks like. It's horrible. I like this new one. I think this new Batmobile is awesome. I think Robert Pattinson is I still say it to this day. When they announced that he was going to be the Batman, I was very excited. Robert Pattinson is an amazing actor.
Everybody, like, with their, what is Batman going to sparkle now? Like, that's such a hot take. Everybody that said that is super original. Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations. You're making a reference to another movie that he did that has nothing to do with this.
Yeah, and
way
also,
to go.
And also, you're pretending like he hasn't done anything since that.
Yeah, just because you haven't seen anything else that he's done, that's not his fault. It's yours.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see what he can do with it. I think that's a good choice too. I think he'll be good. And he's somebody that can, if he decides that he wants to, stick with that part for a while, you know, if it goes well.
And I think, and Robert Pattinson is someone that, honestly, if I were going to build an expanded universe, he would be my cornerstone.
Yeah.
Like, you know, they used like Robert Downey Jr. was the cornerstone of the MCU for a long time. And if it wasn't for him as Tony Stark, we wouldn't have an MCU. I could see Robert Pattinson being the guy that is the foundation of a DC expanded universe.
Yeah.
Now, granted, he'll be in a better spot. There'll be a little bit less pressure on him because they still have Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. But I really think that Robert Pattinson could be that second pillar.
Well, yeah. And I think that when you look at how the Justice League, how they were trying to build the Justice League in the DC EU and have Batman sort of be the fulcrum of that brings all of them together. They wanted him to be their Tony Stark.
Right.
And just, he got saddled with such shitty scripts for his 2 outings, you know?
I agree. I think what they really should do is sort of scrap everything that they did already and just let this be the start.
That's so problematic though, because like if everything had been shit, then yeah. But they've gotten on a roll lately.
Yeah, Shazam was good, Aquaman was good, and
Wonder Woman was excellent.
Yeah. So
Wonder Woman was as good as any standalone Marvel film.
I think they can just retcon the whole thing with Batman. I think they can just retcon it. Or if
they should just have Robert Pattinson like wake up at the beginning of the Batman from a dream and he says, "Oh my God, I just had a nightmare that I was Ben Affleck in a superhero movie."
That would be great. I would have loved that. You know what I would have actually accepted even if he was Terry Guinness. And now the Terry Guinness Batman is in this Justice League.
Yeah.
I would have accepted that even.
Yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do with the Batfleck stuff, but it's something that they'll probably just ultimately try to ignore it.
Yeah, I think that's what, a lot of movies do that. I mean, there are movies that do that. I mean, we've essentially ignored the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah, well, right, exactly. And look, every time, oh my God, I just brain farted so hard.
Well, check your brain pants.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I had just know that it was an amazing example.
Well, of course it was. It came from you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that I think pretty much wraps it up for our Plotaholics deep dive, Brian.
Yeah, and I'm going to go on a limb right now. If you're whining about this movie, shut up and wait until it comes out.
That's
now,
right.
If Pattinson stinks up the joint, then you can trash talk him.
For sure. And we'll be there with you doing it. But
absolutely
give the guy a shot, you know?
Absolutely. You know what? I still remember back in 1987, 88 when they announced that Michael Keaton.
Oh, it happens every time. We've talked about this.
They announced Michael Keaton was going to be Batman. Even a young Brian Tan back then was like, there's no way he's Batman. That's horrible.
I mean, even when they announced that Heath Ledger was going to be the Joker.
Oh, wow, you're going to get Brokeback Mountain, you play the Joker. Yeah. The Brokeback Mountain guy was the Joker.
And now he's like the best damn Joker.
Exactly. So slow your roll, sugar tits. It's going to be okay. Right.
And that's going to do it for another round of
Plotaholics Deep Dive. We're going to need a bigger boat.
And now, Brian, it is time for everyone's favorite segment.
Plotaholics mini reviews. Mini reviews.
This week, Brian, I don't have a mini review. So
No?
I don't. I mean, I could talk about Troll World Tour again.
No,
but
please don't.
I'm
willing to offer cash incentives.
I do have a drunk review recorded for that.
I can't wait.
Wherein I refer to Trolls World Tour every single time as Troll 2 World Order.
Troll W-O.
Right.
Oh my God.
Brian, this week you've spent a little bit of time with the Big Show show.
Oh man. The Big Show show.
What do you think of the Big Show show?
Well, I'm going to say that I'm afraid to say anything bad about this because I may have a first degree black belt in Kempo, but Paul White is over 7 feet tall and 400 pounds of muscle. And he could probably rip me in half as if I were Hoops McCann and Teddy Beckerstead were Godzilla.
God, what a long walk to the end of that joke.
I know, right? The Big Show could kick my ass.
Just watching you walk there.
Yeah, I so am not Usain Bolt on that joke.
No.
But this is a show that it's a typical sitcom where you've got a famous guy as your focal point.
It looks like
but he's not an actor.
Standing with a giant.
Yes and no, but it's not really political. Like the Big Show is essentially playing himself, obviously a fictionalized version of himself, but he's playing himself
in the show, right?
Yeah, he's a retired pro wrestler. He mentions Mick Foley, and they have references to my man Diamond Dallas Page. Shout out. But you know, he's remarried. He's got 2 daughters with his current wife, and his oldest daughter from a previous relationship comes to live with him from Minnesota because her mother got a job in Brussels. So, and most of the show is about the oldest daughter fitting into the family dynamic. And what's kind of funny is Urkel himself, Jaleel White, is Big Show's sort of buddy guy, you know, your typical buddy guy in these sitcoms. But I'll tell you the truth, man. The best part for me is actually the Big Show. Big Show has a lot of charisma.
Yeah,
he's real funny. I do like him. Like the daughters and the wife, I could kind of do. Like the youngest daughter is like your typical the evil genius child.
Right.
And then the middle daughter plays the trope of the super sort of political type, you know, I'm a feminist. And then the oldest daughter is like the jock. She comes from Minnesota where they have girls hockey teams. Now she's in Florida and they're lucky to have hockey teams because there's no cold weather anywhere near Tampa.
Yeah.
So, like I said, a lot of this is the oldest daughter trying to get acclimated into this family environment and Big Show screwing it up. And there's a lot of jokes about his size. Like there's an undersized gym teacher who's also the hockey coach that Big Show, because he gets mad at him, picks him up and sticks him on the wall.
I mean, I feel like that's a joke that you'll probably see a lot is the Big Show just picking people up.
Yeah, they do. He does a lot of physical comedy. Like there's a scene where he thinks he's going to become a real estate agent and he slips and like destroys everything in his path.
You know what athlete I want to see in a sitcom? Peyton Manning. I think that dude is so genuinely funny.
He is very charismatic. Like his brother has like the personality of a doorknob. But Peyton Manning is cool.
You saw his SNL all those years ago, right?
I believe I did see some of it. I've been watching his Nationwide commercials. And they're just great.
You remember the United Way Play 60 thing?
Yeah.
Like there was a commercial. He did a commercial of that for SNL where he just like beaning kids in the face with his balls. Like, and like this kid doesn't catch the ball. He like rockets this ball at this kid and can't catch it. And he's like, go to the porta potty. And he like sends this kid locks him in the porta potty. He's like teaching kids how to break into cars and stuff. Like,
that is awesome.
So
I would like to see that. Honestly, though, I kind of feel bad for Paul White because I think at this point he's trying to look for other things to do because he's trying to wrap up his wrestling career.
Yeah.
I kind of wish he would have gotten a better vehicle than this. I really do. I mean, I'm going to finish it because of my like for him. You know, I've been watching him on television since the mid-90s when he first debuted in WCW as the Giant. So I will finish it because of that loyalty. But I kind of wish that, honestly, I wish there were going to be more of him and Jaleel White because Jaleel White is hilarious in this. And it's almost like Paul White's kind of looking at him like, huh?
Yeah. Is
like,
there room to grow here? Do you think that, like, if it got a second season, could it like grow into itself a little bit?
I think so.
Or is or is it too tropey? Is it too patterned?
You know, I sort of think that if they did do a second season, it would sort of be a segue to get him into something else.
I gotcha.
So I think that it is way too tropey because even his wife in the show calls him Show.
Yeah.
Refers to him as Big Show.
Yeah.
So, and now,
you know what he should do? He should start hosting TV shows.
Yeah.
He should do the host thing. Like he could host like the next season of The Masked Singer if Nick Cannon decides that he doesn't want to do it anymore.
You know what? I could see that.
Like he might be a good television host. For
you know what? I would like to see him as the new host. Like if Terry Crews had to focus more on Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I could see the Big Show hosting America's Got Talent.
Yeah, that could be a good fit for him.
But honestly, I would like to see Paul White have an opportunity to be, and I'm not talking about one of these thrown together comedy films, but like an actual real comedy. Because Paul White it looks to me like he has the talent.
Like I want to see him and Jaleel White in a buddy cop movie where he's the timid one.
Yes, I would take that. I would take that and run with that because him and Jaleel White actually have some decent chemistry on screen together.
I gotcha.
So I'm gonna watch this again. I'm gonna watch a little bit more.
I want them though in their buddy cop movie to be horseback cops.
Oh, you want them to be Canadian Mounties?
Right. I want them to ride horses. Like I just think it would be really funny to watch the Big Show try to mount a horse.
Oh, that poor horse. Like I think for him, they'd actually have to go and get him a moose.
Yeah, and Joe's like Kelly Ripa's new co-host, like instead of Strahan,
it's the Big Show. That's awesome. Shout out to Kelly Russell's. He's going back to our previous talking about Adam West Batmobile. It's still a relatively practical vehicle. I mean, Mark Wahlberg bought it in Rockstar.
Yeah, and it just didn't come up today because we were talking more about the
movies
stuff. And I know that there was a Adam West Batman movie, but it was definitely made for television.
Yeah,
and it was also a big shit show.
But I'll tell you the truth, though.
But it was a ton of fun.
It was a lot of fun.
Can we do that movie for the podcast at some point?
Oh, the Batman the movie? Yes, absolutely. Oh my God, yes. I want to talk about the Batman, the bat shark repellent.
Yeah, I want to talk about that scene where he runs around with that bomb for like 30 minutes. He's like over his head. All right, well that's gonna just about do it for us, right? What do you think Big Show? What do you rate that?
It's it's hard to really rate it because I would probably give it a 4 shot. It's kind of because of the tropes. The tropes are just way too much. But he is the best part of the show. I think what they probably did was they put him in and then they got actors and actresses around him that would showcase his talent.
Right.
And
WWE is actually affiliated with the production, right?
Yeah, I believe they are. I haven't really looked too deep into it, but I believe they are. But they also have another television show. They have another They have some more. I wonder if there's been an actual agreement between Netflix and WWE right now, because there is actually a wrestling themed Netflix original film where The Miz is involved in it, where this kid puts on a luchador mask and he has super strength and he becomes a professional wrestler.
Interesting.
So, like I said, I think that if you sort of like the sort of silly, the silly comedy where you don't have to think and it sort of has its heartfelt, this is, you know what this is? This is Full House without two other guys.
Right.
So if you're kind of looking for something sort of, you know, softball sitcom like that, then this is going to be for you.
Sounds good. Well, that's going to do it for another episode of the Plotaholics Live. Make sure you share, make sure you subscribe, and make sure you go listen to the Plotaholics podcast. You can find all of that at www.plotaholics.com. And we will talk to you guys again real soon.
Yeah, listen to our Black Circle Boys episode that is out now. And next week we will have Half Baked.
We're the Plotaholics. A breakfast club of two. We're the Plotaholics. Ripping plots apart for you.